Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our webinar. I'm sorry I can't be there in person. I am Dr. Christopher Ahmad, and I'm the head team physician for the New York Yankees, also the chief of sports medicine at Columbia University. And fortunately, the Yankees won last night, so I got on a flight with the team and arrived here in Houston early this morning, and just getting ready to get on the bus to head to the stadium for Game 1. Tonight's webinar is about baseball, and while I'm thinking about the New York Yankees, I am also thinking about our youth athletes, the college players, the high school players, and also the developing players in Little League. What we're talking about tonight is the opportunity to take advantage of the off-season to get better as baseball players, to get better physically, to get better with skill, and also to get better with your health. There is nothing more devastating or crushing than being injured and losing a season. And on top of that, there's nothing worse than having an injury in the prior season that's not corrected in the off season that gets you healthy for the upcoming season. To say it a different way, not taking advantage of the off season to get healthy that then impacts your upcoming season, affects two seasons, is extremely challenging and devastating to any athlete, particularly the baseball player. Baseball Health Network was created in an effort to take advantage of all the disciplines that affect baseball performance and baseball health and bring it all together so that this network can be the most effective resource for baseball players, coaches, parents to get better at baseball and stay healthy while playing baseball.
Parking lots on the inside wide open. Oh, yeah.
It's a little too loud here in the dugout to do the presentation recording, so I'm gonna head back inside where it's a little more quiet. The other injury that we should talk about is the UCL injury that often requires surgery and Tommy John procedures, or another operation we call primary repair with internal brace. And I'm gonna go over how injury seasonal timing can affect not only treatment timing, but also the type of treatment. Let's say, for example, you get injured in spring training and you have a UCL problem, a UCL injury, a UCL partial tear. You can elect non-operative treatment and try to get your UCL to heal. That takes about 3 months. You'll have severe compromise to that season, likely can't get back if you're a high school or college player that season. If that's the case and you're not going to get back that season, there's a consequence to an attempted non-operative treatment trial that fails. Meaning if you try to get healthy and it doesn't work, the length of time if you require surgery may then impact the following season. So you may end up having 2 seasons compromised. If you elect non-operative treatment and it fails, and you have a shortened window and need to get ready for the next season, let's just say you need to be ready in 8 months, your UCL, if it's a candidate, can be treated with primary repair and putting in an internal brace. Now, most people have already heard about this operation. If you've not heard about it, primary repair is when you take the ligament and the injury and you sew it back together and you put a brace that looks like a seatbelt inside the elbow, and it acts like a seatbelt that protects you and restrains you while you're in a car. It protects the UCL like a seatbelt and allows for faster recovery. How much faster? Standard Tommy John surgery is about 12 months. Recovery from a UCL repair with that brace is more like 8 months, and also depends on your position. So not only does seasonal timing affect whether you decide to have surgery early or not, it also may affect what type of operation you choose to have. Now let's contrast that to you get injured towards the end of the season. If you get injured towards the end of the season, your UCL is injured, you may elect standard Tommy John surgery, or you may elect repair with internal brace if you're a candidate. Either way, you're going to have a compromised future season. And that's the reality, and it's a challenging situation. Who's a candidate for internal brace surgery? The internal brace operation works well if you don't have chronic changes to your ligament. Chronic changes are your ligament gets thick, it gets calcium, the injury to the ligament is already so advanced that you can't repair it. The tissue quality is just too poor to repair, in which case you need reconstruction with the traditional Tommy John surgery. And the last thing I wanted to discuss is what happens if you injure your UCL with respect to career timing. Career timing is different than seasonal timing. Career timing is, are you in high school and do you want to play in college? Are you in college and do you want to increase your draft potential? Are you in high school and want to get drafted? The more future you have in baseball, the more you want a definitive correction to your injury problem. So, for example, if you're injured in high school and you expect to play professionally for the next 15 years and you injure your ligament, you may not want to try a repair with internal brace if your ligament has some compromise to it, such as a small ossification or calcium deposit in it. You may want to just go forward with Tommy John surgery. So career timing, where you are in your career and what your future is, also impacts what treatment that you will choose and the treatment that will be recommended. Why do injuries happen at different times during the season? That's a great question. Sometimes injuries happen in the beginning of a season because there's a very sudden increase in the intensity of play and your body's not ready for it. Sometimes injuries happen towards the end of the season because of fatigue. Your body's fatigued. You may be dealing with some injuries that you can't correct during a season, such as having a small tightness in a low-level hamstring strain that's affecting your pitching mechanics. That can add stress to your elbow along with the fatigue of your muscles, and all of a sudden you have an injury to your UCL at the end of the season. And finally the question comes, well, why do I get injured in the off season? And for many college players who get injured in, say, the fall, why do they get injured? Part of the reason is your injuries to your ligament accumulate. What that means is if you have a small injury, say 2 years ago, then another small injury a year ago, and then another small injury 6 months ago, now you're playing in October, your ligament has gotten weaker, and finally it tears, even though you're not playing at the same intensity or competitive level. Injuries happen all year round, unfortunately, in baseball. Now this summary for what I'd like to go over for off-season care is the off-season, again, is a brilliant opportunity to get healthy, to get anything in your body that can be corrected, because other aspects of your body, such as a knee issue, an Achilles tendon issue in your ankle, a hip issue, a back issue, if they're not corrected, they can increase the stress on your shoulder and elbow, and if not corrected, you will have compromise to your upcoming season. I want to wish everyone the best of luck. I hope you're watching this at the same time as having the Yankees on, and I hope you're rooting for the team in pinstripes. Well, maybe we're wearing gray tonight since we're on the road.